So welcome to Make the Media Want You. This is a Soundcheck for Success session presented by the Don Wright Faculty of Music at UWO as part of the Forest City London Music Awards. This event was inspired by the book Make the Media Want You by London author and broadcaster Lisa Brandt. My name is Leigh Robert. I'll be your moderator for tonight's online event. I am a veteran radio broadcaster, having worked as an on-air announcer and music director for a variety of radio stations across southwestern Ontario. I've interviewed some big names in the business, including Gene Simmons, Tom Cochrane, Dirk Bentley, even Radiohead, back in the day when they made their London debut at Call the Office. I also met with young artists and musicians who just wanted one thing, and that was the desire to have people hear their music and believe in their dreams. But how do you break through the crowd? Tonight, we have an all-star panel ready to discuss the new world of selling your brand. With so many entertainment options available, how do you stand out as a performer? I will introduce the panel, then you'll be able to ask a question in the chat room or the Q&A. So if you have never used a Zoom before, just go to the bottom. You'll see the participants, the Q&A, the chat. You can ask your questions in either the chat or the Q&A. There are several of us who are keeping our eyes on the chat to make sure that we cover as many questions as possible. Alrighty, I will screen the questions and then we will share them with our guests. So I will introduce our panelists. Eric Alper, number one. There's Eric. Eric started his own PR firm in 2017 following his role as the Director of Media Relations and Label Relations for E1 Music Canada, a job he has held for 18 years. He's one of the most well-known music commentators in North America and named to Billboard Magazine, Paste Magazine, and the National Post's Best on Social Media with over 1 million followers. Woo-hoo. Past and current clients on the PR side include
friend in real life. You know,
Judy Collins, Randy Bachman, The Cult, Merle Haggard, John Prine, Ringo Starr, Slash, The Wiggles, Snoop Dogg, basically everybody you can think of. He has worked with hundreds and hundreds of artists over his 20 years in the music industry. So welcome, Eric. It's so nice to have you here.
So good to be here in London, Ontario.
Yay! We've talked many times over the years, but I don't think we've ever met in person.
Exactly.
All right, next up, we've got Jully Black.
Hi.
Hello, Jully.
Hi,
Jully Black is a true Canadian icon, named as one of the 25 greatest Canadian singers ever by CBC Music. She has been dubbed Canada's Queen of R&B Soul. As a platinum-selling recording artist, her music career has yielded multiple singles reaching the top 10 pop, R&B, and dance music charts. She has taken home Juno and Gemini Awards, earned innumerable industry accolades, as was hand-selected to sing for the Queen of England. Her passion for philanthropy has taken her from the shanty towns of Bangladesh to the villages of South Africa and all across Canada. As a woman of faith, she champions important causes and uses her career as a platform to celebrate and inspire the greatness that lies within each of us. As a songwriter, Jully has collaborated with industry heavyweights, Sean Paul and Destiny's Child, among many others. Jully is a major presence in the Canadian media and entertainment industry. As a former host and correspondent for CTV's ETALK, Jully has interviewed Jay-Z, Oprah Winfrey, and former President Bill Clinton. She has also appeared in films, television, and theater. With purpose-driven ideals and boundless spiritual fortitude, she continues to refine and reinvent her artistry. A phenom in Canadian entertainment, lifestyle, and public speaking arenas, she is co-founder and a keynote speaker for the renowned Empowered in My Skin Women's Empowerment Summits, a notable.ca award recipient, a vocal advocate for the LGBTQ communities, and a We Day ambassador. So
we could take the We Day part off now. I think.
Okay. All right. Well,
that's actually an old. I'm like, let me see if she's gonna say the We Day part, because that part should be edited.
Okay. All right.
Me Day.
So we'll edit that over.
Me Day.
Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Yes, we'll see you soon.
I should have caught that. Whoops.
But thank you. I was like, let me email the team because let's see what they sent the wrong bio clearly.
Hey, 3/5 of us are part of We Day. We should just have a real mini We Day.
We should have a good cry. Have a good huddle.
There you go. Yeah. Just rename it. You'll be all set.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is Nicole Arbour. Welcome.
Hi.
Yahoo Finance has named Nicole the top influencer to follow in 2020. She received an honorary star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for special achievement in social media, and she sold out events around the globe. Comedian, social media superstar, and renegade entertainer, Nicole Arbour is known for her hard-hitting, truth-based comedy and motivation. After spending the better part of a decade in bed on disability after a car accident, Nicole cheered her way back to life from extreme chronic pain and nerve damage to using over-the-top positivity and mindset training to get her back on track. This resulted in the birth of the Go Team movement. Soon after, Nicole became an advocate for the chronic pain community, winning the Hero of Hope Award from the International Pain Foundation and the Award for Media Excellence in 2019 from the American Fibro Association. Nicole's first public talk on how she overcame adversity was viewed over 4 million times, and this led to her being one of the most sought-out public speakers in the industry. Over 70 organic viral videos later, Nicole also consults and strategizes with some of the biggest brands in the world by helping them win online. Welcome, Nicole.
Thanks. That sounded really nice. You talked about it. Positive.
We have an amazing panel tonight.
Totally.
Now, our next guest, I woke up this morning with laryngitis, so I'm channeling my inner Liz Trinnear right now. Liz lives and breathes all things music and pop culture. And Liz and I had a chance to work together one summer, and I always loved her spirit. A Londoner, Trinnear's passion for music inspired her to apply to Much Music for a VJ position while she was working as a summer cruiser host for Chorus Radio. That was in 2008. She shot her own episode of Cribs as her audition, and the video got the attention of thousands of fans on Facebook and Twitter. Soon enough, the girl voted most likely to be a Much Music VJ in high school, beat out 4,000 other hopefuls, and landed her dream gig. While at Much, Liz became a rising star in Canada's entertainment scene, hosting the MMVA Red Carpet Special, the Much Countdown, the iHeart MMVAs, as well as covering major events and awards, including the Vancouver Olympic Winter Games, the Juno Awards, the Emmy Awards Red Carpet, along with TIFF and Fashion Weeks in Toronto and New York. Liz then joined CTV as an ETALK reporter as the program's LA correspondent, covering high-profile events, including the Grammy Awards, and interviewing some of entertainment's biggest names, including Lady Gaga and Quentin Tarantino. She's also hosted season 2 of the CTV music series The Launch and appeared on The Bold and the Beautiful. Despite struggling with a skin condition from a young age, Liz Trinnear exudes positivity and motivates her legions of fans on social media, which now numbers over 100,000. Welcome, Liz.
Oh, geez. It's kind of like awkward. I kind of want to just go like this.
I loved reading your bios because when I think about how much experience is in this room tonight, and for the people that are watching and listening in and submitting questions, they aspire to be where you are right now. So we're going to start with some questions that were sent in earlier. And once again, if you are watching this right now, please either in the Q&A or in the chat, type in your question. We will keep an eye open for the questions. And once I get through our previous questions, we will get to the questions in the chat. So thank you very much for joining us this evening. So we will start with Liz. Liz, this is from Miley W. And Miley wants to know, what has been the biggest obstacle you've overcome to get where you are?
Oof, do we have a whole hour or in a day, 24 hours?
Take as much time as you need. I'll cut you off if I need to.
You know, I won't take too long because this is one that's kind of been a recurring one. It was probably the hardest lesson to go through and learn, but it was being okay with who I was at a young age. So you got to understand, when I won the VJ search, I was fresh out of university. I hadn't even graduated yet. 4,000 kids applied. I was the one who won. So 3,999 kids didn't win. Their families, their fans, their friends, everyone hated me. And so to get this incredible dream job and then have Twitter just be like, this girl sucks, her style's whack, she talks funny, like, I don't like her teeth, like, just stupid stuff. And have that scrutiny right out of the gate, you know, was really hard to figure out, especially at 21. I'm like, I don't even know who I am. I mean, I'm 32 and I'm still searching, but one of the biggest lessons I kind of learned throughout that journey was being okay with who I was. And, you know, obviously there's going to be one hater for every 100 lovers, and you just got to be able to deal with it. And the other thing is, you know, at the beginning of my career, you know, I received so much stuff like, can you wear clothes like this? Can you act more like this person? Can you be more of this person, this former VJ? She was just a bit more chill than you. And can you talk like this? Can you actually? And so much molding and shaping, and throughout it, I totally lost myself. So in my second year being a Much Music VJ, I studied at Second City in Toronto, which is an improv school. And no one in there knew who I was, and no one knew that I was in TV, and it was all just kind of this incredible camaraderie. And I started at the bottom. I started completely at the bottom and learned how to catch myself in awkward moments and how to jive with myself, and to really gain confidence in who I was, and gain that confidence back from why, you know, Much Music ended up choosing me to win that competition, and why Canada voted for me, to find her again, to find Liz again. And so that was kind of a self-discovery thing. And I think being okay with who you are is a very hard lesson to learn. It's a hard thing to understand, and we're constantly growing and shaping and learning about ourselves. But to just know that it's okay to be you, and it's a good thing, because that is your marketable difference. And that's kind of where I am.
Good. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. We have James.
For you, by the way.
Oh,
Pardon?
When you were a VJ, I totally voted for you. I remember.
Thank you. Thank you.
You were the best. You were the best.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We have a question from James, and I'm going to set this out to Eric, I think. James is asking about sending an email to, for example, Breakfast Television for an artist guest performance appearances. So how do you as an artist get on board for some of these television shows?
Yeah, I think what artists, especially indie artists, have to understand is your competition isn't another independent artist from Toronto or London. Your competition is COVID. Your competition is Kanye West. Your competition is the weather reports and news and traffic and everything else that's happening, because music tends to be one of the worst rated segments of most television shows that don't fit in the all music programming show. So what you have to show them is that you are worthy of this attention. You can bring more numbers to yourself with telling them who you are, what kind of music you play, and your social numbers. Tell them what you're doing on Facebook. Tell them what you're doing on Twitter. Show them the engagement that you're getting, because they're not always looking for music discovery. It's not really their job anymore, much less Breakfast Television or anybody in the media. They've all gone away from the music discovery that we all kind of grew up with. The Much Musics, the Pitchforks of the world. They're not really about that, because now, studies have shown and websites have shown now that you have to keep people engaged with the known artists. It's why Kanye West and Taylor Swift sucks the air out of the room every single day, because people are reading. So that's what you have to understand, is that, if you show them that you are worthy of attention without being arrogant, chances are they're probably going to think about having you on their program. Be nice, be kind, make sure that your music fits. If you play hardcore heavy metal, that if I play the record backwards, it's going to tell me to pray to Satan, you're not going to get on ETALK. So know who you're pitching, but also walk in with a little tiny bit of arrogance if you have it, if your numbers show it, because you kind of want to show them that you're worthy of having that segment on their program.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Eric. All right, we have a question. I'm going to send this one over to Jully. So it's from Naladri. Naladri says, I mostly sing song covers as I don't have much experience writing songs, but I still try to write a few songs, but can I make it by singing cover songs? My dream is to make it big in this industry.
I guess you gave this one to me because of 7 Day Fool. Was that your thought process?
No, just as a songwriter yourself. I imagine as an artist, you probably started doing covers.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. I think that for me, I actually started doing gospel music. I started in church at like 6 years old. I was able to have a tribe around me to help me kind of foster and harvest the voice that was discovered. Like, I didn't know I could sing well until I saw people responding and reacting. And, you know, so of course, it was like Whitney Houston in grade 2, you know, to be honest with you. I said this to somebody else recently where, you know, where I was raised and how I was raised, I couldn't always bring the most recent, like Cabbage Patch Kid or, you know, Gem and the Holograms for show and tell, but I could bring my voice. So every Friday for show and tell, I would sing, and I would sing Whitney Houston or, you know, any of those songs. And that helped me discover what my voice could do as I tested myself. So those were covers. In my young mind, I didn't know they were covers. I was just singing my favorite songs. And then, you know, fast forward, who would have thought that after Sweaty Your Brow went #1 and different songs that I had in the hip hop world with Money Jane and Old Time Killing and all these hip hop songs that I was kind of like the voice of in the Much Music days, that I would be challenged to do this Etta James song. And it wasn't At Last. I always sang At Last at weddings, or, you know, everybody knew At Last. And my producer at the time was like, here's this song. I bet you kind of just like, I bet you can't make this one your own. It was literally just for fun. It was like a test. And I had sang 9 songs in 9 days, had no voice. It was my 9th day of recording Revival. And that was the very last song I ever did. And it happened to be a cover, go figure. And so a song that people didn't know was the Etta James song became a song everyone knows me for, even though Berry Gordy wrote it. So yes, you can. I think the song needs to really match your personality. I think your intention needs not be to go #1. I think if that song is the song that makes your voice shine, and it's a cover song, yeah, put that outfit on and own it for sure. And whatever is supposed to happen is going to be left up to the divine, really. And that's what happened with me.
Okay, we have another question for you, Jully, from Justin. What is your songwriting process? Where does your creativity stem from, and how can you effectively put it out to the public?
Wow. Okay, that's a few questions in one. I don't really have a process. Some people, for me, it's a lot of gobble gobble, a lot of humming. The melody always comes first for me. I tend to write about my own life. If it's not my own life, it's my friends. If it's not my friends, it's a message board. Every song I've ever written has been about somebody that it's a real life experience. So I love writing with guitar players. I wrote one of my most favorite songs with Ian Thornley. It's called Until I Stay. And we literally ordered Chinese food. I was at his house, and he wanted literally, and he was playing his guitar, and this was before his amazing relationship he's in now. And I was talking about my garbage relationship, and he was talking about his garbage relationship. And it was just like, I thought of letting go, my mind won't let me. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm trying to let go too. You know what I mean? And literally we had like a free counseling session. So that was one process. When I work with producers that are more so kind of technologically savvy and it's more programmed, then they'll drop a beat, but I often ask them to not fully produce it. Really make it that if I need to sing that song without all the programming, I could sing it a cappella, strip it right down, even if it's just a drum machine and my voice. It has to be about the voice, has to be about the song, and the rest of it is just like, you know, the sorcery, like the contouring of your face. The rest of the instrument should be that. It shouldn't be the main thing about the song. And then as far as getting it out, the jury's out. Like, I've been in this business for 25 years. So it's a new day in how music is released. We have platforms with social media, but I think you have to really identify what success means to you, and really be grateful for every win, everybody who says even that they like your song, even everybody who listens. You know, if you're going for views, likes, and follows, and you're going to use that to really validate you, then you can cause some severe mental health and depression. The studies are out there that people are really chasing that high, chasing the dopamine, looking for the validation. So I think that at the end of the day, being on this side of the carpet, it's really excited I'm going to echo what Liz was saying, like, to really love who I am and declare that I'm enough, and that really focus on like who I am more than what I do. Even though that long ass resume bio said this, and that, I'm not exempt from cancer. I'm not exempt from sickness. I'm not exempt like, we are all humans. And it just so happened to be that what I ended up pursuing was in the public eye. But if you put a garbage man on TV, he'd be just as famous. If you put a nurse on TV, just as famous. So for me, I've just done away with all of that armor and all of the, that whole, for kind of clout chasing. I don't do the clout chasing. It really has to be about intention. So put your music out there, let your family hear it, let your friends hear it, hit up Eric, bum rush him on the side, be like, let me know what you think, and enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey.
All right, thank you, Jully. We've got a question from Louie. I'm going to throw this over to Nicole. What is your opinion on Instagram Reels? Is this the new feature to be used on Instagram, or is there something better to reach an audience?
First, I need to go to the Church of Miss Black, because wow, I appreciate the gospel. I was in church. Yeah, Reels is dope. I don't think it's going to compete with TikTok in the way that Instagram wants it to. The algorithm just isn't favoring it as heavy as it did when IGTV came out. I have not used it myself yet, but I've used it for my clients. They're seeing good reach, but it's still not the same reach as when IGTV came out. And IGTV still gets more views naturally, organically, and gets you on the discovery page than Reels at this very moment. But a new version of Instagram came out yesterday. If you noticed your shiz crashing, that's why. So who knows what the upgrade is going to do.
All right. Thank you very much. Liz, this one is for you. This is from Kylie W. We're seeking a news story or report. What are some of the key elements you look for that make that story desirable to cover?
Well, I mean, being a reporter or being a journalist of any sort, you got to be nosy. You got to be, you gotta want to learn something. And for me, I'm going to talk about music specifically, just because that's my heart and that's my number one. And when I'm like looking for a new artist or a story or a sound, it's going to be uniqueness. It's going to be a different story. It's going to be where they started and their journey to where they got to, the storytelling within their lyrics. Are they taking a unique sound? Are they biting someone else? Like, for me, I'm constantly looking for new artists, and that's kind of just been my pride, is always discovering new artists. And that's why when I was on the launch, it was this incredible experience for me to be submersed in all the talent we have in Canada and the voices that aren't heard necessarily because there's only 40 spots on the radio or whatever it is. So I think that when I'm looking for something, it's, they talk about marketable difference, and I mentioned it briefly, but being comfortable in your own skin comes back again. And so when I'm looking for a story, or a story that I'm drawn to specifically, and I'm just talking about myself, not necessarily our show, I am just looking for someone that catches me. And I remember seeing Jessie Reyez perform at a coffee house for, I'd say 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. And it was a small coffee shop. There were 20 people. It was a remix project thing, which is a organization in Toronto. And I went up to her after and I said, I don't even know who you are, but I am just moved by you. I am drawn to you and I want to help you. Take my phone and take whatever contact you want. I was just so obsessed. And then I kind of followed her journey, and that kind of went as well with like Alessia Cara. Like I used to follow her on Twitter, and she came out with a song, and I was like, who is this girl? There's not that much about her. I was obsessed, and there was kind of a mystery to her. And so those were kind of just a few stories that I was really drawn to, and now look at them. They're doing quite well.
No kidding. You got an eye and an ear. I'm the same way. I'm the same way. There's, you know, those musicians that just grab, you know, those people that grab you, and it's like you want to do whatever you can to help them on their journey. All right.
They talk about the it factor, and it's the it factor is a real thing. I mean,
it is.
I mean, I hate using that, but just part of the it factor is just honing in on who you are and being comfortable and confident in your own skin.
Yeah. Don't try to be anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
No. All right. Joe has a question and a comment. First of all, it's so great to see so much experience in one room. So thank you. And his question is, I have a strong, solid fan base as an indie artist, but is relatively small, under 10,000. I currently am about to release my 4th album and truly feel some of this music on the new album would be great for radio. What is the easiest way to go about pitching my music to those who make the decision to spin a song on radio or playlists? So Eric, I'll throw this one over to you.
Well, first of all, congratulations on getting those numbers. Not only are you in the top 0.004% of all artists in the world. In fact, this week, Spotify came out with their numbers, and it turned out that out of the 55 million songs on there, 99.6 of them have less than 1,000 streams. So way to go on that. The best thing to do is, if you want the commercial radio side, they tend to only really, for the most part, want to hear from the key radio trackers in the country. And there's about 11 or 12 of them that music directors and program directors love to hear from. It's expensive though. Even the worst one that's out there that will take anything that doesn't really have a lot of clout. They're not working with, say, major artists. They're working with anybody that wants to pay. They start at around $3,000 for the life of the single, which could be 8 to 12 weeks. The best ones that are out there really don't want to work anything unless they think that they can bring it into the top 20 or the top 40. They'll charge $5,500 to $6,000. So that's a lot of the price range for a lot of people. But the best thing to do is, if you can't, you know, go after the commercial side of things, is realistically do it yourself. You know, when I first started, I was faxing press releases and calling them up and finding out who to talk to, because email wasn't even invented. I know I'm really, really old, but now that you have the ability to use Google and find these people online, introduce yourself. Send them the links to the music. Don't send them the MP3 or the WAV files, because it just clogs up the space on there. And just make sure that all of your assets are there. Come correct. Make sure that your bio is there, your photos, your social links, your bio, the links to the music, and also just tell them a little bit about yourself. What city are you from? Are you from out of town? Are you from Saskatoon, but you're contacting somebody in Halifax? Because most radio stations, for the most part, they still have an hour a week devoted to independent artists that's not signed, and that could be the first step to you. Don't also forget about places like CBC and SiriusXM and Stingray. Both all 3 of those platforms, they're really not interested in your streams. They really don't care how many views you have. They're interested in the sound of your music. If you fit the format of The Verge on SiriusXM, they may play you even if you're an independent artist. Don't always look for the giant radio station from, you know, clear across Canada. Start local first, because they're going to play and want to support you because you're a hometown artist. And then think about, you know, the CBCs and SiriusXM, and also college and community and campus radio stations. So where a lot of people in radio first get their start, and you never know when that person that plays you at 4 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday, if that person ends up being the music director of the biggest radio station in the market. So there's a lot of places. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but, you know, email me. I'm happy to talk to you and give you lists of places to go to. I've always loved talking to independent artists and kind of helping them wade through all of this stuff. And even if it's just to share some of my lists and the contacts, I'm happy to do that as well. But keep going, because your numbers are there. And never forget, you're in the top 0.00004% of the world's population when it comes to Spotify.
All right. Thank you. Great answer, Eric. And thank you for offering your services. He's a good one to have in your corner. All right.
That's a good person to add into your phone. That is a good contact, a good phone a friend, my friend.
Yeah, definitely. Add Eric Alper. All right, we're going to send this one out to Nicole. This is from David. Do you foresee new platforms for streaming online shows other than Zoom that are specially designed for live music being available soon?
Well, as of a couple weeks ago, not a new platform, but Facebook just released their music streaming platform where you can get stars, and you actually get paid by your fans as they give you stars. So it's kind of like a tip jar feature, but it's a brand new application on top of Facebook. There's literally a new platform opening every day. I get about 5 emails a day, come join this platform. Here's a financial incentive to bring your fans over there from either Instagram or Facebook or whatever. And I would say stick to the majors right now, but always, the second you see something come out, get your handle. Whoa, there we go. Preaching here. Get your handle. I've lost my own handle. I lost Nicole Arbour multiple times. That's why I'm IB Nicole Arbour on a couple, because a not so nice lady wanted to charge me $30,000 to get my name back, and out of principle, I would not do it. So yeah, if there's a new platform, go grab your own name, grab your band name, grab your whatever handles you want to have, just so they're there. Just so in case that platform starts popping, you can hop over. I got my Musical.ly account probably 5 years ago, which is now TikTok. So I randomly had it. Sweet. But yeah, just there's always new ones, but spread yourself out. And if you want to make money right now, especially during COVID, start putting on some concerts on Facebook.
All right. Julie, I'm going to send this note to you. It's by Louis. Are there any volunteer opportunities for people in the London, Toronto area to gain exposure, build community, and network while gaining experience?
Volunteer. Well, everybody loves some free labor. There's always opportunity. I think it's a matter of what sector you're trying to volunteer in. Not to mention, we're pretty much virtual now. So this is where, to me, it's separating the wheat from the tare. For those who relied on that structure, going to the office, needing that team, is really, this COVID has been amazing for me. Like, I call it Corona creativity. You basically now, there used to be a show called In Living Color back in the day. There was a segment called Amons. Amon, I have 10 jobs. I have 15 jobs. And that's basically what it is right now. If you're willing to volunteer, since you're willing to volunteer, what area are you really trying to? And it's not just about, for me, you have to know your why. What's your intention? And if it's just about to lead to the money, you might want to reconsider. Yes, we want to make money. We all like making money, but you got to be able to put in that sweat equity, because we don't know when that's going to actually manifest. But at the end of the day, the experience, you cannot put a price tag on that. The value of experience, like that's when I mentor people, I talk to them about value versus currency. And so I'm glad that you mentioned, hey, where could I volunteer and get experience? But make sure that wherever you go, they're going to give you a reference. And, there's a lot of people that can take advantage of this season. And so just be very, very mindful. Treat it like a true job. Send in your resume, etc. Like Eric, if you want to email me, info@jullyblack.com, JULLY, black.com. We could talk and see what you're willing to get into and what's available for my company even.
Eric, we have a bunch of people asking what your email is. Could you supply that very quickly?
Sure. It's liz.trinnear it's Eric. I'll give you the really easy one. It's eric.alper, ALPER, @gmail.com. The real one is eric@ericalper.com, but the Gmail one goes to me anyway. So okay. Eric.alper @gmail.com.
One thing I would like to notice, thank you very much, Eric. The music business is a very, very tight-knit business, and people talk and people discuss. So this leads me to my next question. And I think I'll throw it over to Liz. How much info is too much information? Are there topics that are off limits? This is from Heather C.
Heather C, geez. If you've seen the beginning of my career, oof. I just, wait, really quickly, can I just go back to one of Julie's points? I do want to point out that how many of us in this room, right, in this panel, have volunteered before? Like, we all started,
pay
and when
dues.
I was, exactly, and I think I do want to touch on this because I was in London, Ontario, you know, for most of my life. I grew up there, was born and raised there. So when I was starting out, I was in high school and I was like, I just need to, like, I would go to concerts, and then from a concert, I really wanted to be on radio, and I knew my ultimate goal was much music, and I kind of saw this like stepping stone. But what I did is I saw some kid posting posters outside of a concert once, and I was like, hey, how'd you get this job? And he's like, oh, I just do this for free. They pay me in CDs. And I was like, sick. Can I help? And so I just randomly after a concert started posting these posters, and he's like, hey, you want to come back like next concert? And so I kind of started doing that, and that led me to my first radio show on Western Radio, the UWO station for students. And that was CHRW. And then I went on to apply for the summer cruiser position, where Leigh and I met at Chorus Radio, and that was kind of my first start. So I'm just saying, you never know who's going to give you that opportunity. So volunteering, I'm so happy you guys talk about that. No one wants to work for free. Trust me, I know that. I am 32 and I'm still doing things for free. You know what I mean? Like, you're just constantly volunteering and giving back and whatever. But it is so important to do that, because you never know where that next person is going to call you in a couple of years and say, hey, I actually have a paid gig for you, or I actually want you on this new platform, or I want you to host this new thing. And Leigh, can you remind me what that next question was? Oh, the too much information, TMI. Oof, we're living in a world of TMI, and I'm all for it. You know, it depends on where you want to go. I know that Liz Trinnear, will never be in politics. And that's kind of just, I know that if I were to be in politics, all of the fun things that I did on Much Music in my early part of the career would be dug up and shown to the world again. But I think it's your own moral compass, right? Don't get peer pressured into being so overexposed and telling the whole world your rants. And, you know, everyone's got those people on their Facebook pages who share too much information about their husband pissing them off and their kids doing this and that. It's like, okay, like, talk to your girlfriends about that. This is not a sounding board. This is Facebook. But I think it also just comes down to your goals. Like, what are you looking? Are you looking to be the shock value comedian? Are you looking to be the next, like, viral sensation? It's all in where you want to go. But remember, everything you click post or tweet or, you know, submit, it's there on the internet forever. And I tell kids that all the time when they're coming out, when they start their social media platforms. Just because you made that TikTok when you were 10 and you thought it was funny when you were 10 years old, 20 years later, it's still going to be there. Someone's going to find it. So be careful with what you do on the internet. Be careful with what you say on the internet. We've all made missteps, and we're all learning this and navigating this landscape, but it's a dangerous one, and it's a permanent one.
Can I just add to that? When I was at, I'll tell you a really quick story, because those are excellent points, especially for people who want to work really in the entertainment field specifically, but anywhere really. There was a time when I needed to hire an assistant at Entertainment One. And it's one of those jobs, it's not because it's me, it's just because it's music. It's one of those jobs where you get close to 1,200 resumes for just anything that opens up. One person I was looking at, I went on her social media, even though it's illegal. I don't care. I need to find out who these people are and what they're like in order to represent our company. This person slammed for days nothing but the movie Twilight. I get it. It's not for everybody. Guess what our #1 brand was at Entertainment One? Bingo, it was Twilight. It made us $1 billion. So of course I can't hire you, because not only do you insult our brand, which you probably didn't even know that we had, but I'm not looking for controversy. I'm not looking for somebody with an opinion that could very well offend any one of our partners. So my rule of thumb is, just because you have an opinion doesn't necessarily mean that the rest of the world needs to hear it. You never know by talking about politics or sex or religion or anything else that somebody is going to be offended by that. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, There's artists from Steve Earle to the Chicks to everybody down the line who have made it their careers to be outspoken and tell people about it. But you need to think about when you start slamming somebody, or you don't like somebody's music or what they're doing or their art form, people could watch. I mean, this internet is filled with, you know, people that had their lives and their careers destroyed, and only 12 people were following them. It just happened that when somebody retweeted it, it reached BuzzFeed and exploded from there. So just be careful.
Very much so. Thank you, Eric. Jully, this one is for you. With the many different hats that you wear and the many different things that you do, how do you create a new persona with every venture you attack? This is from Courtney S. How do you break the perception of going from a serious theater role to a different role?
Oh, I don't create new personas. I am the one Jully, always. And I think that to some degree, you know, based on some conversations I've had with my peers and different business people, you know, to some, it's like that was my setback. And to me, it was a setup rather than a setback. And I say that because I had to be truly unapologetically Jully. That's all I know how to be. Everybody else is taken. And so where many have kind of flipped the hat, flipped the persona, created this new image, etc., and have made buku money off of it, that's just not who I am at the core. And so everything is really about being really where my feet is. And so, you know, being very, very grounded. And so every phase, every season of my life is no different than like winter, spring, summer, fall. The seasons change. We're still living on Earth. It's still the same. I'm still in Ontario. I'm still in Toronto. If it's winter, spring, summer, fall, it doesn't change. And I think that more so now, especially in light of what's going on in the world, politics, Black Lives Matter, you name it. Like, this is a time where as an obvious Black person, Black woman, it's even more important for me to be 150% Jully and be gracious and be able to educate, be able to listen, be able to be bold and courageous, and recognize that I have privilege. The privilege of becoming Jully Black, you know, what people believe I became Jully Black. I was always just being Jully. Being Jully, you know, helped me become Jully Black. And so now being able to be in spaces like this, as for example, I'm the one Black panelist, and that's okay. I'd rather know that I'm on the panel and I have a seat at the table and I'm able to engage in brilliant, meaningful conversations than be bitter and complacent and wonder why not me, why not us, right? And so it's important for no matter what race, ethnicity, socioeconomical status, sexual orientation, you gotta be yourself. We're human beings, not human doings. There's too much doing happening. We're doing PR, we're doing artistry, we're doing social media, we're doing doing. What you up to? What are you doing? What you been up to? What you been doing? No, I'm being. That's what I've been up to. And if more of us could be, truly be, oh my God, what better world we will actually have? What better music we'll have? When you think about what the music that was being created, and at a time even before most of us were even born, it was saying something. Actually, it was a soundtrack to what's going on in the world. So it's really letting me know that a lot of music right now is also the soundtrack. There's not much going on that we're not functioning cohesively. And it's time. It's time. That's why I got this tattoo on my arm. Bridge. We got to build a bridge big enough for everyone to cross. Bridges bring people back and forth, right? So if I'm here and my purpose is to be that bridge, then that's what I'm gonna be. I'm gonna say, hey, Liz, there's somebody over there. Go grab their hand. I'm gonna hold this bridge up. You walk them across. Hey, Eric, you on the other side? Hey, and I'm just keep being that, and don't have to switch any personas. You know what it takes the engineering to build bridges? You know the responsibility. If you really start researching bridges all around the world, that is a serious responsibility to have cars, trucks, go across those things, and trust that it's not gonna fail. That's where I'm at in my life.
All right. Anyway. Thank you, Jully. Wonderful, wonderful answer. Thank you so much. All right. We only have Nicole for about 10 more minutes, so we've got a couple of questions for you. Do you ever feel stifled or restrained creatively in our politically correct environment? This is from David.
No. Yeah, that's kind of it. No, I think if you are who you are who you are all the time, and then that's it. You just go for it. And I think there's consequences to all actions, especially for American artists right now. If they identify as one political side or another political side, then that kind of limits their fan base. But other than that, no, I feel it actually excites me. It excites me when there's something good to talk about.
Okay.
That's
We
what
also have, oh yeah, we also have another question here. When using social media, define quality content that will make your page look professional and attractive. That is from Atticus.
Atticus, it depends who you're trying to attract. I got 1 billion views by using my iPhone against a white wall. Well, half of them while I was disabled and couldn't get out of bed. It was low quality video and 1 billion views, which resulted in very good paychecks for me with sponsorships, with all sorts of things. I've had sponsors pay me, you know, $50,000 for a video that's shot on an iPhone or a TikTok length video. And then I've had giant productions that were just over the top and looked amazing, and they got almost no views because they looked so overproduced, people just didn't care. So I think in the land of TikTok, which is where we're at right now, and social media where you can just do it on your phone, is the quality of that doesn't actually matter. It's totally different music, but I won't speak on that because I'm not an expert. But when it comes to socials, just get yourself out there. That's what matters. Get yourself out there, go again, swing again, go again. And you can't, you know, just post once every week on your Instagram or once on Twitter and expect to get a following. You have to be growing your fan base, engaging with people, having different ideas, having thoughts on what's going on in the world, in the news, on whatever's trending, and get out there. Yeah.
Okay, and we'll give you one more before you have to leave. What do you think is the most important social media platform?
Currently?
Yes.
Instagram.
Instagram.
Yes. Currently Instagram. I'm still rocking it over on Facebook, which is fun. I'm like, it's TikTok and Instagram. It depends what age demo you want to hit and who you want to get. I freaking love what Jason Derulo did. He had so much time going between his albums and stuff like that. He's like, I'm just going to go hard on TikTok. I'm just going to go hard on TikTok, make TikToks every freaking day, jump on every single TikTok trend. And the budget for his new album is the biggest of his label right now because he trended on TikTok and because he grew that fan base. So for me and the demo I'm going after, it's still Instagram. And then of course, like I get yelled at every day for not leaning in harder on TikTok. So get on there until they ban it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I have to run. Thank you, panelists. You guys are amazing.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yay, go
Great
London.
night. Yay. All right, we're going to go back to another question. And this one, I think I'll send out to Eric. So what have you found to be the best way or ways for unsigned acts to reach real fans of their music and grow a genuine fan base? That's from Colleen, or Colin, sorry.
Write the best song you've ever written in your whole life. Really, I mean, you know, when you really get down to it, when you talk about social media, when you talk about Facebook, when you talk about Twitter, and when you talk about ideas on how to get your music spread, that stuff is fairly easy. Really, I mean, all you have to do is spend a couple of bucks a day on Facebook trying to reach your fan base and your demographic. If you play folk music or roots music or blues or jazz, go on Facebook and go push that video of 30 seconds or a minute out to people between the ages of 45 and 65 within your city, and then kind of branch out from there. Twitter is just a madness, and it's just a cesspool of mostly hate, and it's tough to get an audience out there. Instagram is certainly a lot better, but because it's owned by Facebook and it wants to kind of, you know, help it that way. But I find that the best thing really is just to create the best song that you possibly can. And you're gonna suck. You're gonna suck for a long time. You're gonna suck for your first 100 songs, but your 101st song, that's the one that's going to break. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with superstar artists like talking with somebody like a Springsteen over the first time that he recorded Born to Run, and him telling me that they went through 7 months worth of production in order to get that sound right. The 8 songs that you hear on an album, or the 1 song that you hear from a pop artist right now, they've gone through 60 different versions of it. They played it as a ballad, they played it as a polka, they played it as a folk, as all sorts of different styles to get the one that they felt was going to hit. Now, not everybody's going to predict right, and you do want to be true to yourself. But if you write the great song, if you write the best song of your moment, you got to let the fans and the audience do what we do, which is share things that are awesome. You know, advertising agencies, they love 4 emotions. You got to make them laugh, you got to make them cry, you got to make them angry, or you have to make them stand up and say, wow, that's amazing. If you keep doing and aiming for the 4th one, people are going to spread it regardless of how much money you spend on it. I know it may not be the answer that you want to hear, but it's true. Only the great survive in this world.
Thank you, Eric. Great suggestions. You have to make people feel. All right, Liz, we're going to throw this one over to you. What online presence tactics have you used to help you be successful?
Well, I've pretty much fallen into, I've experimented with a lot of different things like the filters and figuring those things all out. I will say that I did just do an Instagram kind of tutorial, not tutorial, but class. And basically they're talking about why Chrissy Teigen has the biggest social media following. And the reason is this and this. Hey guys, how are you today? I'm just doing this. Da, 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 da. The overproduction is not doing as well. The over curated, the over filtered, those accounts aren't necessarily as attractive to people these days. Apparently, the more raw, honest, real life, nitty gritty, you in your bedroom, playing your favorite song. People want to see that, because I think we're all living in a very interesting time right now. I know we all are living in a very interesting time right now. We're in a pandemic. And, you know, with quarantine, we're all at home. So I think people want to see your personality. People want to see your authenticity. I know Jully totally touched on that. And it's worked for both Jully and myself. I think we both can agree on that. That's us just being us has worked out. But I think there is something to that, you know. I think there is something, for me, I've always sworn to myself, I want to be authentic. I don't want to be pushed and pulled in different directions. Obviously life happens and you're going to be, but as far as social media works out, I mean, figure out what you like. Like, that's kind of my rule of thumb when posting. It's like, if I think the world needs to hear this, if I think this is an interesting fact to me, if this is an interesting article I read, this is a podcast I liked, this is a new band I'm listening to, this is a new outfit I'm loving, this is my new makeup hack, whatever it is, I just kind of curate it like that and hope that my following, those people who follow me, are liking the same thing. So I think just figure out what your niche is, what you're wanting from your following, and kind of go with that. Don't over groom yourself, don't overthink it, but obviously be conscious with your thoughts and posting. But yeah.
Can I jump in too? Can I say something?
Yeah, definitely.
I want to add to it. Yeah, thank you for bringing up the authenticity again, Liz, because in the beginning of COVID, because I used to kind of not like social media, and I used to be like, this is another job. I need to hire a content manager. I need to hire a content creator. I need to get someone to edit. All of those I need to. And then finally, I just said, you know what? I'm just going to decide to like this thing. I'm going to I told myself I like social media. I like it. It's so good to me. Like, on some kind of wishy-washy, but I was getting kind of granola with it. I was like, you know what? I like it. And then I started to invite people into, because I'm on lockdown. So I just invited them into my space, into my life. What am I eating? What don't I like? Like, I think that as artists, and especially public figures, people tend to forget that we're people first. And so if you could actually just share your life, I'm not going on all the negativity, the rants and all that, right? Because when we were speaking about that earlier, I wanted to jump in and say, what's the point? If you need to take the effort to turn on your social media and hit broadcast or whatever, what's the point? like really ask yourself, what's the point, right? And so anyway, with the followers, I found a lot of brands, now have been reaching out to me. I've created quite the other business in brand partnerships, and brands coming to me not because I had #1 songs and because my video's playing right now or because of songs on radio. I actually haven't been in like heavy rotation in like 10 years. And so to realize that, you know what, if people could really check into the who you are as a person. You got kids, you got adults, people like my dog Coco. My dog Coco is 12 and she's grumpy. And so I turned her into this Jamaican dog. She's not Jamaican, she's a Morkie from Georgetown, but people like Coco, and I put little captions. It just have fun. It always works out, and you realize that, especially if you're trying to make a living, an extra supplementary income, for example, there are brands that were paying buku money to do this on television or to buy print ads, and now that takes so long to get the print. Even keeping up the Kardashians have to shut their thing down. Like by the time their news gets up there, it's already been on social media. So see the power of the instant, the power of now. Like I'll even quote Eckhart Tolle, like it's actually a thing. The power of now is a powerful thing. So use your social media as the now and share what you feel like sharing. If I got a zit because I ate too much chips, sometimes I share that. Like, yo, you know what? I went on a binge. This is what happened to my face. And here it is. And the other day I showed my cellulite because there's people that admire my body in a certain kind of way. And I'm like, yo, ladies, I have cellulite too. Here, take a snapshot of this thing right here. You're not in this alone. Okay. So
authenticity.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right.
It's the one thing that connects us all, right? We're all human, and you talking about your bad day, or you talking about that cellulite, or it connects us. We're all human. We all have our things. It's like that Joan Osborne song. It's like everybody's got their story. That taxi driver's got a PhD. That girl next door just lost her mother. That's like in my bio for a reason, because it's so true. And if you show that on Instagram and social media channels, people really resonate towards you because you're real. Yeah. Sorry, Leigh, you're trying to move on.
No, that's okay. I think I will do one more question, and we'll go to each one of you. So this is from Kamo. I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. So Kamo wants to know, what would you suggest are the best marketing campaigns that you can pay for? So Facebook, Google Ads, what would you recommend? What is more effective? We'll start with Eric.
If you play jazz, blues, folk, classical, roots music, Facebook. If you play pop music, Instagram and TikTok, but your audience is out there. It's not necessarily how much money you spend. It's not necessarily what kind of music that you do, but if you target audience correctly, they'll do their job and they'll spread it. And again, like, you don't have to spend $100 a day. You can spend $1. In fact, one artist that I worked with, who's a veteran heritage artist, he's in several Hall of Fames in Canada and around the world. He had a song called Back to the 60s, and it was all about Woodstock and getting back to the garden per se. We spent $5 a day reaching people between the ages of 55 and 65 in Canada. And about 45 days later, he had 1.7 million views of that video. For him, not only was it the biggest video of his career, or, at least on social media, but we really pinpointed who is his audience. It's not going to be, we're not looking to brand him to the Justin Bieber crowd. We don't care about the Billie Eilish audience. We want people who grew up with his music. So the more that you know yourself and the more that you know who your audience is, I know people out there are going, well, my audience is 18 to 85. It's not. You're not the Rolling Stones, but you can pinpoint and target who it is, and kind of take it from there. And, sometimes it's just, when you spend a couple of bucks a day, if you start to notice that you're starting to get more views than what Facebook or Twitter or Instagram allows you to see, then that's when you know that you're on the right track, that people are actually sharing this on your behalf and letting fans do their job, sharing the good word about what you're doing.
Sorry, just one more question. He wants to know about rap and hip hop specifically.
Rap and hip hop, I would go to Instagram, and then I would come up with an amazing dance. Make sure that your music is available on TikTok. Make sure that you're going through a pretty good digital distributor to ensure that your music is on there. You know, Facebook and hip hop is a little bit different, because if you go through the biggest songs, the top 50 songs of the year, most streamed on SoundCloud last year and the year before that, it was all hip hop for a reason. It was because their audience wasn't keen on listening to all that music at that time on Spotify. So don't sleep on SoundCloud. And look, if you really want to make it in the hip hop world, start creating a lot of beats and start collaborating with people from either your city or your country, or people that you want to collaborate. Because if you take a look at those charts and what's selling, everybody's got a feature.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you, Eric. What about you, Liz? What are your favorite online platforms? What is hot right now?
Yeah,
What works for you?
I'll go back to Eric's point. Someone in my career early on said something about know your brand. And I said, know my brand. Like, what does that even mean? Like, I'm not a brand, I'm a person. Like, I'm not Nike. I don't know. That was such an important lesson for me to understand that I was a brand. You as a person, every day you go out of your house, you're putting something out there. As artists, as presenters, as television hosts, as journalists, whatever, you have a brand, you have a voice, you're creating it for yourself. And so with social media, know your brand and know your audience. Those are the two big things. And for me, you know, obviously I've got my mom's friends following me and they'll comment on some stuff when I post. But I'm not necessarily making my posts for them. I love them and they're in their 60s and doing fabulous things. But I'm thinking of my niche audience, or my key demo that I kind of cater to is in their 20s and 30s and 40s. And so I specifically brand myself that way. I've never done any paid ads, but I have heard Instagram boosts when I've done marketing campaigns that they've been really successful. Be careful with spending your money online though, because there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of gray areas. There's a lot of empty promises. I get if you could see my DMs, I get so many like, we pay if you pay us $10,000 we will give you 20,000 followers, and that stuff, guys, stay away from, because it's just never good. Do not get sucked into buying followers. Simple things like using hashtags and posting daily, and using, like, for Instagram, using their actual features like stickers and tags and handles. All of that stuff helps generate followers and helps generate eyes on your page. So just be creative with it. Go on YouTube. Honestly, YouTube is such a great place, and type tips for Instagram, tips for TikTok, tips for Twitter, whatever it is. Do your own research. There's so much free information on the internet. As much as it's a scary place, it's also a really resourceful place if you do your research. And you don't have to pay for followers or pay these people who are experts to tell you what to do. Just be careful with where you're spending your money.
Okay, good advice, Liz. And what about you, Jully? What are your favorite social media platforms to use?
Yeah, I spend a lot of time on Instagram. However, to your point, Eric, about demographic, like, I know there's a certain group of people that are chilling on Facebook, and that's their area. And when I do Facebook Lives, you know, I've had 250,000 people on the Facebook Live, and on Instagram Live, like 2,000 people. You know what I mean? So it's like knowing where. Don't forget about that demo that grew up with you, that used to be 16, 17 when I was 17, that are now 42 and I'm 42, right? So I tend to straddle a bit, but Instagram has been where I've been hanging out mostly. To your point, Eric, about Twitter, I find that it's just it is chirping. So I've lost a lot. I'm not really interested in chirping. Sometimes I forget I have Twitter, and I need to really be like, oh snap, okay, I have Twitter. But I enjoy Instagram. I've been enjoying Instagram quite a bit, and yeah, spend time over there.
All right, thank you, Jully. All right. I'll maybe throw this one over to Eric. One more question. Are the days of musicians getting famous on YouTube phased out now, or is it still possible to gain exposure?
No, in fact, 75% of all music that's consumed around the world is on YouTube. As much as we all love to talk every single day about the power of Spotify, keep in mind that Spotify, Tidal, Google, Apple Music, iTunes, your favorite music streaming service is about 25% total combined to it. That's because everybody's consuming pretty much their music on the phones. YouTube is free, and there's just a lot of people who aren't really technologically savvy, or that they're suspicious, or that they just don't want to pay any money for music. So YouTube is still one of the biggest places, but keep in mind that YouTube is a destination. It's really, really hard to promote on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and TikTok your YouTube page. In fact, all of those 4 platforms are going to do everything that they can to make sure that they knock you in terms of making sure that your audience knows when you post by bringing them on over to other sites. That's their competition. They have Facebook has no interest in helping out YouTube. That's why they started Facebook Music. That's why they have Facebook Live and everything else. So, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, whenever I was doing a press release, my numbers would only be regards to video, what the number was on YouTube. But now I'm doing cumulative numbers. If you're getting 50,000 views of that 30-second clip on Instagram and 10,000 on Facebook and 40 people on YouTube, you better believe that my press release is going to say that the video has been seen by 60,000 people, because it's true. YouTube is not the only game in town, it just happens to be the biggest game in town. But so don't ignore that, but you don't have to send everybody on over to there all the time.
Okay, thank you. All right, Liz?
Can I just quickly add? I mean, keep in mind that Shawn Mendes is a TikTok kid. I mean, is a Vine star originally. 6 seconds did a lot for him, and consistency did a lot. So don't snooze on TikTok. Figure it out. Trust me, I'm still figuring it out. I just go and type how to TikTok like my 30-year-old self. But really, just. I love Eric's point about multi-platforms too. Don't snooze on any of them. Don't obviously spread yourself too thin, but understand your audience and don't be afraid to kind of share and spam it on all things. And one of them might hit, especially with the TikTok generator. The way that stuff generates new videos every 5 seconds, it's crazy fast. There's information being thrown at it. So who knows if your one cover of a Justin Bieber song or a Beyonce cover goes viral on TikTok. And then that is going to open up this huge floodgate of followers and people, all eyes on your music.
All right, thank you. Jully, we're going to give you the last word tonight. Any last suggestions, advice for young artists that are looking to make a dent in 2020?
Young artists are looking to make a dent in 2020. Well, I would say write down what's going on, because we're laying in the pages of history. We're getting a lot of content right now, especially if you're a songwriter. This is life. This is happening in real time. I think that have fun while you're behind these smartphones that need us to be smarter to actually use them. So take advantage of that. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to really DM Oprah, DM anybody. Just go ham. Have fun with it. This is a time where there's direct contact. Never in my entire career have I been able to reach out to just anybody and get a response. Like, I've been getting responses from people that I didn't think would respond, and people are getting responses from me. And so it's vice versa. Knowing that truly this is the time of creation. Health and wellness, though, I'll be totally transparent. Please take care of your health, because Steve Jobs isn't here. He's not here to enjoy his legacy, and so many others. So you could have all the money and the wealth and success in the world, but no health. Doesn't make any sense. So full circle, definitely take great care of your health, take great care of your mental health, and know that you don't always have to be in front of the camera. There are lots of people behind the scenes that are having a great time, that are helping others. I've been doing lots behind the scenes, and it's I think, Eric, you mentioned it earlier, speaking about being humble. And if for somebody in the business this long, I recognize, you know what, that type of humility and grace to be able to be like, hey, I was 17 and wanted somebody to help me. And I didn't have, I'm literally a pioneer in this country. So we can help others. And this is the time to use our wealth of knowledge. So don't be afraid to ask, you know, to come full circle and have a really good time. And be careful of comparisonitis. There's two itises that aren't real, or ghetto itises, but I'm going to tell you them. Comparisonitis and competitionitis. Those two itises will end your career before it even begins. You are the best you, and you have to believe it. So those are my last words.
All right, excellent last words. Julie, Liz, Eric, thank you so very much for joining us this evening. We appreciate your time. We've had lots of comments from everybody who's out there saying that they're getting a free education tonight, that they've learned a lot, great information. I just want to say a thank you to everybody for coming out, for those of you who joined us. Thank you also to London author and broadcaster Lisa Brandt for the inspiration for tonight's event. Her book, Make the Media Want You, is available for purchase through Amazon, Google Books, and Indigo. We still have more events happening this week with the 4City London Music Awards Gala. That's going to be broadcast on various platforms throughout the week. Check out the website fclma.ca for more information. Again, thank you for our panelists for attending. Thank you to all of our attendees. Let us know what you thought of this event, and have a great night. Thank you so very much.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you guys so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Leigh. Miss you.
Bye. Good to see you.
Bye.
Bye, Eric.
Yeah.
Bye, Eric.